Hi y'all, Renee Hunter with Century 21 Premier in Nashville, Tennessee. Today I'm on location at Summit Funding with Anna Cook. Anna will be discussing some mortgage topics with us for those that are thinking about buying a home. Anna, thanks so much for having me today.
Absolutely. We love having people in our office, and I love sharing information about the home loan process.
Hi, I'm back again with Anna Cook with Summit Funding, and our next topic is going to be closing costs.
These two words are very scary to a lot of people in our realm. And a lot of people just don't know what goes into closing costs.
Well, I have a lot of buyers asking me, what is closing costs and why am I paying it?
Right. So, okay, when it comes to closing costs, these two words are probably the scariest of all the things people talk about because most people just don't understand or know closing costs until they see them. So there really are about four things that go into closing costs. The first thing is that there's typically some sort of lender fee to do or process the loan.
So is this like a loan origination fee?
That's actually a little bit different.
Okay.
So that is something to think about too. Not all lenders have the same lender fees, and this is something that's important. So for instance, we don't charge an origination to do a loan. An origination is a certain percentage of the loan that is charged in order to pay the loan officer to do the loan. And so some loan officers do charge. They'll charge on a $200,000 house 1%, which is $2,000 in order for them to do your loan. Some lenders have an application fee where before they even start working with you, they charge you $400 or $500 up front just to do the loan. That's not necessary. That's just them trying to hook you in so that you don't go anywhere else because you feel invested. And so when it comes to lender fees, when I talk about lender fees, I'm also talking about what's called an admin or a processing or an underwriting fee. Those are fees that go into making sure that in the 30-day or 45-day or 60-day period that your loan is closing, that all the verifications and all the work that it takes to close that loan, that's paying for that service. Because a lender is not only lending money, but they're providing a service to make sure you qualify. And so that's our way of making sure, just like you go anywhere, if you go to a restaurant, you got to pay to eat the food.
Exactly.
So it's a service charge to work with a lender, and that's standard across the board. They can vary a little bit, but those are usually pretty standard. It's the origination that can change.
Right. So that's why you always need a local lender. Sit down and meet with them first so you're comparing apples to apples and you know that you are getting the best deal on your closing costs because that makes a difference at the end of the day of what you're bringing to the table.
Absolutely. And one of the things we talk about in our consultations is that we guarantee our fees aren't going to change. And that's a big thing in our industry because you'll get to the closing table and the fees have changed and your cash to close has gone up, and that can be an issue.
Yes.
It should be an issue if it changes.
But then especially when it goes up.
Right. The next thing that goes into closing costs will be your title expenses. So whenever you close a loan, you also are working with a lender and a title company. And the title company is who is going to protect to make sure that the house is legally able to be sold by the person selling it, that there's not any issues with the land or the property, and they're going to protect your rights to owning that home. There's a lot that goes into that.
Making sure there's not any
liens or judgments. Yeah, so making sure that everything is taken care of so that the property is legally sound and legally vested into your name at closing without any sort of surprises after you close. And so they actually have some of their own third-party fees that we typically estimate when we sit down with a client. They're all pretty standard in Sumner County, and some of those fees are actually based off your loan amount and your area in the county, or area or your where you are in which county in Nashville. So those sort of things can vary a little bit, but they're pretty standard title company to title company.
And with some of the title search fees, a buyer can ask a seller to pay part of that for them.
Absolutely. And then there are some just county fees in general, and those are your city stamp tax and some of your recording fees and things like that. And that's simply to establish you as the new homeowner within the county. And that's almost, I tell my clients, it's a lot like a sales tax to the county for purchasing a home.
Right.
And again, that's set off of your loan amount and which county that you're purchasing in. The final thing that goes into closing costs are something called prepaids. And that's where we set up your escrows. So whenever you're purchasing a home, you're going to have property taxes and homeowners insurance that we have to collect to make sure that those are getting paid monthly so that at the end of the year they're paid out annually. And whenever you're closing on a home loan, we have to collect a certain amount of that on the front end to protect you and make sure your escrows are set up. And so that's always going to be based off the property taxes and who you shop for homeowners insurance, which month you're closing in, which day you're closing in, and which part of the county you're in. And so those are things I also calculate and get set up. And so when we go over closing cost estimate, we're able to be really within, at least here in my company, about $200 of what your bottom line is going to be every time.
Is the appraisal fee part of the prepay, so do buyers get it back?
That's a great question. So when it comes to the appraisal is a cost to do the loan, but I actually don't include that as closing costs because it's actually paid before you ever close. Mm-hmm. So when you're purchasing a home, there are really three things that come out of your pocket before you ever close. The first one is earnest money, and that's something it's like a security deposit on the contract. Mm-hmm. But that's actually going to be added back as a credit to you at closing. So if you put down earnest money with your contract, it's either going to go toward your down payment, or if you were doing 100% financing, it'll go toward or come back to you. And so that's one. And then you do have a home inspection that you can or cannot get. I never recommend anyone skipping out on a home inspection.
Yeah, always get a home inspection.
But those are typically, anywhere I've seen $250 to $500 on a home inspection fee. And Renee, I know, knows some really great home inspectors that she can recommend. And then you're going to have your appraisal. And your appraisal is ordered by the lender, but you're paying for a service for someone to go out and evaluate the home. And so that's where you pay for that up front. So even if you have your seller pay all of your closing costs, which are those things we talked about originally, typically a buyer is going to have earnest money, home inspection, and appraisal that will also be up front before closing.
Definitely.
Yeah. But those are really the things that go into it. And the nice thing about having a great realtor to negotiate is that we can negotiate the seller to pay pretty much all of those closing costs except for the appraisal and inspection, which are something that you're required, and your earnest money is a security deposit. So it's really, there's a lot of options out there, but if you ever get stuck into a scenario or you have a friend or family who's looking at closing costs and you feel like it's high or it looks funky, we're definitely here to help you guys with that, and we can look at that over with you as well.
Right, and your realtor, because I know not everybody that's watching this is in the Middle Tennessee area, but your realtor can look over some of those fees. If you have a loan estimate from the lender you're using, they can look over and say, hey, this is bogus. You shouldn't be paying this amount.
Right. Really and truthfully, in this market, in today's market, about 2.5% or lower is what you're going to see for closing costs of your purchase price, give or take, depending on your loan amount or your area of town. If you live in an area where their taxes are really high or prepaids are a little high, that's going to be different. But for the most part, you want to make sure that you're not paying more than 3% for closing costs.
Yeah, I always try to be safe and tell my buyers, be prepared with 3%.
Yeah, 3% is standard for the market in the United States, so that's something to look at. But if you ever have any questions about closing costs and you're not having a lender that's transparent, check with your realtor, give us a call. I don't mind looking at it, and then we can help you from there.
Thanks for joining us today. I know it's been a lot of information. I would like to thank Anna Cook with Summit Funding for allowing me to come into her office today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to put Anna's information. It'll be in a link below. You can also follow her on social media.
Yes, so we love to put out on social media information about what's going on in the market, new products. So follow us on Instagram, Team Cook Nashville, and Facebook, Team Cook Nashville. We also do a lot of fun local giveaways. Yes, we love to support local, and so that's really fun as well. And if you're thinking about buying in the next year or two or refinancing, and you just want some information, our consultations are free. She keeps saying to come in and sit down with me, but I do want to let you know that that's free information. It's a service to our clients and our community, and we are passionate about what we do. And Renee's an amazing real estate agent, so if you have any needs, definitely call her so she can help you buy or list your house.
Okay. I'm Renee Hunter with Century 21 Premier in Nashville, Tennessee. Bye,
guys.